Good evening. My name is Excalibur, and I am the moderator of this President Town Hall for MRT NewsChannel, and I am also the anchor for the MRT News Report. The Town Hall is a style, it's not quite a debate, but it's similar to it, in which members of the public were allowed to submit questions to be asked of the candidates, with the only restriction being that candidates were not allowed to submit questions to themselves or their opponents. The town hall will last 60 minutes. Each question will be asked sequentially to all the candidates, and if there are any that weren't asked by the time the 60 minutes are up, they will be posted on the wiki for candidates to answer there. Each candidate will get 120 seconds or 2 minutes to answer each question. Candidates are not allowed to interrupt each other, and if we go through all the questions that have been submitted and we still have time, we will allow the audience to ask questions. And the audience has agreed not to interrupt the town hall with loud noises, except now to give a hearty welcome to our candidates. Mr. Mike Rome of the MRT Green Party, Mr. Skelly Zomperman, who is an independent, Mr. Camel Fantasy, who is an independent, and Mr. Burncow of the MRT Federalist Party. Welcome. Of course, since Skelly Zomperman is me and is hosting and being a candidate, I have been represented by an armor stand. So, hello candidates. Our first question was directed to Skelly Zomperman. In your interview with MBS News, you stated that you would bring a balance of projects and politics to the United Cities. What does this entail, and how does it benefit the United Cities? Well, Mr. Zomperman, my opponents have in the past said projects, not politics. But the United Cities is supposed to be a political organization. Its founder, JPH Golf 4321, has called it a cross between the modern United Nations and an MPO. And I feel that a amount of politics is healthy to maintain the United Cities because it is supposed to be part of role play. However, my goal is not to have useless politics which results in arguments like with Verncow. My goal is to have politics that results in the greater good for the MRT, that results in there being more projects, in a sense, politics for projects. Is that it, Mr. Skelly Zomperman? Yes, that's it. Oh yeah, and I do want to note that for questions that have been given to all four candidates, the order will be candidates will answer from left to right: Camel Fantasy, Skelly Zomperman, Mike Roma, and then Burncow will answer last. The second question was submitted to all three of the candidates, and some of these questions, the questions that were submitted to all the presidential candidates, I will also give Camel Fantasy a chance to answer. So this question will be directed at all four of the presidential candidates. What kind of new committees will you set up? And Camel Fantasy, if you're using text, please type in the recess channel. Is Camel Fantasy there? Camel Fantasy, if you're there, you please type your response in the recess text channel. If whoever is throwing snowballs could please not do that, thank you. You have a minute left to answer this question. The question is, what kind of new committees will you set up? All four presidential candidates will get a chance to respond to this question. You have 30 seconds remaining. Since you didn't hear the question fully, I will repeat it. This was aimed at all four of the presidential candidates. What kind of new committees will you set up? You have 2 minutes and you must type your response in the recess text channel in the United Cities Discord. Not my comment, not now. We're starting with Camel and then we'll go down the line. Yeah, could whoever is firing arrows or snowballs or whatever projectiles please stop doing that or we will ask you to leave? You have 30 seconds to finish your response. Well, that's it for the 2 minutes. Now we're gonna go to Mr. Skelly Zomperman now. Burn Cal, you are not to respond now. You can respond when we call you. So as with the current committees, I would like to state that the current committees, as Camel Fantasy said, are fine as they are. I do feel that when I created the executive committee system in the early days of the United Cities, I was envisioning creating committees for infrastructure. And I feel like we have done that, we have accomplished that in the United Cities. And I feel that the next step would probably be committees that are more towards goodwill, like welcoming in new members of the server and helping them get set up possibly, or maybe creating more fun activities, not activities like the logo competition, which didn't do so well, but ones that would get the community involved, because most of the UC community is not very involved. And I feel that we could create new communities for goodwill and getting other members involved. Is that it? Yes, that's it, Mr. Zomperman. Okay, we are going to have Mike Roma answer the question, what kind of new committees will you set up? And I probably should have read Camel Fantasy's response for the audience. He said, well, the current committees seem fine as they are currently, and I don't see any pressing need to add new ones at the time. If I do see any reason to add any more committees during the presidency, then I will do so. Mike Roma wrote, as president, I will set up a terraforming committee which will assist people in creating more natural-looking cities. The committee will also give advice and feedback for people. This committee will be beneficial to the members of the UC as they will get a boost during city promotions. Is that it, Mr. Mike Roma? Okay. And finally, we are going to ask Burn Cow the question, what kind of new committees will you set up? 2 minutes. Burn Cow is currently typing the response. Burn Cow, you there? If you are, just you can't jump up and down. Like, never mind. We'll just let you have 30 seconds. Burn Cow. Time. Press enter on what you're typing, please, or we're going to move on to the next question. Burn Cow wrote, I will not set up any new committees at the moment, but I will revamp existing committees to make them better than they are now. He probably meant to say and, but he ran out of time. We'll be moving on to the next question now. This question was directed towards Mike Roma and a few other candidates running for other positions. What is your opinion on the proxy vote crisis where MRTI's own Captain Chimpy faked votes? And if he did not leave the UC, would you have supported an act of punishment? Mike Roma, you're on the clock right now. You probably should be. Uh, yeah, your question is, we'll reset time for you. What is your opinion on the proxy vote crisis where MRTI's own Captain Chimpy faked votes, and if he did not leave the UC, would you have supported an act of punishment? Yes, that is the question. You're on the clock right now. Yeah, Narnia, if you could do me a favor and unmark people who are participating in the town hall AFK. You have 30 seconds. He typed, I think what Chimpy did, it was a horrible thing, and if he did not leave the UC, I would give him some sort of punishment, like demoting him to observer or revoking his power to vote for a certain amount of time. When fake votes are received, the entire democratic system is thrown off, and many people will be unhappy. Looking at the questions, there were a couple non-serious questions that have been asked already in previous town halls. We'll be leaving that towards the end. I believe the last serious question was directed towards Skelly Zomperman, and it was also directed towards one other candidate running for another position. With your involvement in the off-MRT news agencies, how will you ensure that UC officer matters don't get leaked to the press? Well, I would like to state that during my time as Chief Justice, I've never, not Chief Justice, but Associate Justice, excuse me, I have never actually leaked anything out towards the press regarding private officer matters. I also make sure that, I also make sure, excuse me for that pause, I also make sure that I do not leak anything confidential that's been discussed, like in DM, Discord direct messages or private messages or private chats. I've never leaked that out to MRT NewsChannel. Some other people can testify. I'm not going to name them, but other people can testify that I've never leaked anything out that's private to MRT NewsChannel. So to answer that question, I yes, I know that private matters will not be leaked to the press because that is improper. Okay. That's okay. We have two more non-serious questions for the candidates, and then we will be done with all of the pre-submitted questions. First question was directed to every candidate in the race. Do you like pie? We're starting with Camel Fantasy. The question is, do you like pie? Camel Fantasy is currently answering the question. Well, Mr. Mike Roma, please don't interject into the town hall, but yeah, it's non-serious, and I did leave it towards the end. There are two non-serious questions, but I am not. But they were asked after all of the serious questions. There are no more serious questions remaining. Narnia, if you could teleport anyone who is doing anything to spawn. Camel Fantasy just spammed the number of pi. Pi, the irrational constant. We're gonna ask that question to Skelly Jumperman now. Do you like pie? Well, yes, I like pie. My favorite pie is apple pie, the best pie. It is from New England, and New England is the best place in America. Go Patriots. Wow, that was an eccentric response. Now to Mike Roma. The question, do you like pie? Mike Roma stated, well, unlike the cake, pie is not a lie, so yes, I love pie. Don't listen to GLaDOS ever, kids. And finally, we will ask the question to Burn Cow, do you like pie? Yeah, I would like to make a reminder not to make any throw any projectiles. I thought I've said that already at least 3 times, but obviously that is not the case. Burncow stated, well, pi, is amazing and is my favorite irrational number. Okay, this is the last question in the debate, and again, it is not serious. So please hurry up with it. We're gonna start with Camel Fantasy. A, B, C, or D? He replied E, none of the above. Now we're gonna ask Skelly Zomperman, A, B, C, or D? A, of course. First letter of the alphabet and the best grade. Okay, now we're gonna ask Mike Roma, A, B, C, or D? He wrote F, all of the above, A through D. And finally, to Burn Cow, A, B, C, or D? Burn Carol's W, hashtag thinking outside of the box. Okay, that concludes all of the questions that have been submitted by a form. Now we are going to move on and allow anyone who is currently attending to ask questions. If you would like to ask a question to one of the candidates, please DM me here, either here in Discord or in the Minecraft server, and then I will call you one by one based on the order you submitted your question is. Please, serious questions first, funny questions later. Please don't do funny questions right now. And also, please specify which candidate or candidates you're asking the question towards. Again, if you would like to ask a question to any of the candidates, you may do so by either private messaging me in the Minecraft server or direct messaging me in Discord. Okay, since there's not too many questions yet, we're going to allow both serious and funny questions. So if you want to ask any questions, direct message me or private message me. Okay, we do have one question right now. A Lion, can you speak, or do you want me to read out your question for you? A Lion is asking Camel the question. S question mark. Camel Fantasy writes S period. Okay. So would anyone else like to ask a question in the audience? If you are in the audience, you can ask any question of the candidates. Just direct message me right now or private message me, whatever you want to call it. No one wants to ask a question. I'm surprised. A-Line, you want to ask... Okay, Narnia wants to ask a good question. Narnia, can you use voice, or do you want me to read it out?
My question for each candidate is, if you could change one thing about the UC right now, just directly without needing any sort of resolution or anything like that, what would you change and why?
We're gonna start with Camel Fantasy. 2 minutes. Camel Fantasy wrote, one major thing I would likely do is to reduce the politicization of everything within the UC, as it has been seen in multiple recent instances when such politicization has caused tensions to rise to dangerous levels and gotten a few people in trouble as well. This could be accomplished by ending the UC's recognition of political parties and slash or coalitions. We're going to ask that question to Skelly Zomberman now. If you could change one thing about the United Cities without a resolution, what would you do? Well, Narnia, hold on, Skelly, 1 second. Okay, you can keep going. Okay, so the UC isn't perfect, but there's not really a lot that needs to be changed right now. As I've said before, the UC, the status quo is good so far in the UC. We are producing a healthy amount of projects, and while politicization has gone up recently, it has noticeably gone down since Frumple issued that warning at the GSM in June. I would like to say that if I would do one thing, it would probably be to mess around with the Parks and Recreations Committee a bit so that they could get closer to the goals. I do not feel that it's acceptable for them to leave a plot to let Bakersville not have a park for 3 weeks, for one example, but I wouldn't do it immediately because I don't think it's that much of a pressing concern. The Parks and Recreation Committee, of course, is a big topic here in the United Cities. Most of the candidates are saying something about it. And yes, I do feel that they should be doing better, but it's not a pressing enough concern to where I'd immediately do something with it after entering office. Just maybe a tap on the shoulder or something. Okay, he finished. And now we're going to ask that question to Mike Roma. If you could change one thing about the United States without a resolution, what would you change? Mike Romer has stated, well, there isn't anything large I would like to change about the UC, but I would like to see some improvement in the way players in the UC act. Many people are not being as active in resolution voting, and I would like to do something that would be a morale booster in that way. And finally, we'll pitch the question to Burn Cow. If you could change one thing in the United Cities without a resolution, what would you change? And while he's typing a line, you said you thought of something. Do you want to ask a question of the candidates after this one is done? A-Lion, are you there? And Mike Roma has left. Apparently. "30 seconds, burn cow." You've passed the time slot, so finish up what you're writing, like the sentence you're writing, and enter it, or we're going to move on. Yeah, okay. Burncow stated, "I will create provinces on the UC that will have their own versions of the current UC committees to give said committees a smaller area so they could get more done." Okay, so Mike Roma, are you there? Because I do have a question for you that has been submitted. Okay, Mike Roma, the question's by A-Line. He asks, as a former MRTI member, would you join a new similar coalition, and would you make any changes to prevent the, quote, death, unquote, we saw of MRTI? And 30 seconds. Mike Roma writes, well, I didn't choose to leave MRTI. RDO, leader of the Green Party of the MRT, said that the Green Party would leave MRTI temporarily. I do not know the reason why, but if we would join another coalition or rejoin MRTI, I would definitely try to encourage people to become more active in the UC, i.e. becoming candidates, voting, etc. Okay, that was the last question in the queue. If anyone else has questions, please private message me or direct message me now, or we will be ending the town hall. This is the last call. If no one gives me a question, wants to enter the queue within a minute, we're going to end the town hall right here. Okay, no one sent in a question. No one has sent any more questions into the queue, so we are going to end the MRT News Channel President Town Hall, the final town hall here. I'd like to thank the candidates for coming and attending the town hall. I'd also like to thank the audience. For those of you watching MRT News Channel, don't forget to watch the MRT News Report at 7 p.m. Eastern Time live, which I will anchor from here in Laclede, and of course our GSM live stream starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Thanks for watching and good night.